Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and when I post an iPhone tips and tricks video on this channel, I'm a little bit surprised sometimes by the amount of stuff out there that a lot of people don't know, and that a lot of people say that, hey, this tip, this trick, it helped me out a lot with learning how to use my iPhone, so I thought I would do another one. So for this video, I really wanted to focus on what I think are overlooked tips and tricks for your iPhone. Now, this first trick is actually something that even I didn't know until recently, and that is to change your timer from a regular timer to a stop playing timer. To enable this, what you're going to want to do is go into the clock app. You're going to want to go to the bottom of it and make sure you're on the timer setting. So you're going to want to select when timer ends, and when you select that, you're going to want to scroll all the way down. You'll see a setting called stop playing. Just select that and hit set. So when you set this type of timer, what happens is when you're playing something like music or a YouTube video, you can actually have it stop playing when that timer ends. A lot of people out there, including myself, like to listen to music while you sleep or maybe put a YouTube video on in the background, and you don't want your phone to be playing that all night long. So with this feature, you can stop playing that at a set designated time. So say you want to play music for 30 minutes, you can have this timer stop playing that music after 30 minutes. I really do like using this tip at night, especially when I'm going to sleep or when I just want something to end at a certain time. And this is a tip that I have learned recently, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So for this next tip, this is to close all of those annoying Safari tabs, and if you're like me, you probably accumulated a ton of Safari tabs. And of course, you can go about the mundane task of manually closing all of your apps by either swiping up or pressing that X button, but if you want to close your tabs a faster way, all you have to do is long press on the done button, and you will see the option to close all of your tabs. I think you'd be surprised how many people don't know that they can close all of their Safari tabs this way. So if you're like me and have trouble managing all of those tabs, this is a great way to just get a clean slate. So while you were clearing all those Safari tabs, maybe you cleared something, or maybe you got rid of a tab that you didn't want to get rid of, and maybe you can't remember the website name, or maybe the link someone sent you expired, and all of a sudden you're freaking out because you really wanted to browse that website, or you really wanted to look at a certain thing, or you had a valuable piece of information open. Well, fret not, you can actually reopen the closed Safari tabs that you just closed. So to get back your recently closed tabs, all you have to do is long press on the plus button, and you will get access to all of your recently closed tabs. From there, you can just select which tab you want it to open again, and it will reopen that Safari window that you just closed. Now, one thing to note about this tip is that if you do close Safari by closing the app completely, you won't be able to get these tabs back. So the trend of smartphones getting bigger and bigger year over year is no exaggeration, especially with these latest iPhones. You now have an iPhone with a 6.5-inch screen. And while most people would probably agree that a bigger screen is better for all sorts of things, one of the downsides with having a bigger screen is doing one-handed typing. Thankfully, there is a tip out there to make the keyboard a little bit more accessible for when you are typing one-handed. And this is by enabling the keyboard to either shift to the left or the right-hand side. To enable this, you're going to have the keyboard open, and on the bottom left emoji picker, you're going to want to long press on it. From there, you will see the keyboard settings, and you'll see an option to put the keyboard on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side. So depending on if you hold your phone with your left hand or your right hand, you can customize and pick which way the keyboard shifts. And by enabling this, this will shrink down the keyboard and push it over to one side and make typing on one hand a lot easier. So if you miss those smaller iPhone SE days, this is a way on your newer iPhones to get back that one-handed typing experience. So while we're still in the keyboard area, I wanted to cover this tip as well. One of my more popular tips from my iPhone XR tips and tricks video was using the long press on the keyboard to activate the text selection cursor. A lot of people did not know about this tip. A lot of people were blown away by the fact that they've had an iPhone for all this time and they didn't know that they could long press on the keyboard to activate that cursor. And while you can still do that, while you can still bring up the text selection cursor by long pressing on the keyboard, I wanted to bring up another tip for owners who have a 3D touch enabled iPhone. So if you have an iPhone with 3D touch enabled, like the iPhone XS or the iPhone XS Max, instead of long pressing on the keyboard, you can actually just press deeply on any part of the keyboard. This is called a 3D touch, and that will also bring up that same text selection tool. You can just deeply press onto any part of the keyboard, so it makes it a little bit easier to access and also a little bit faster to access because you don't have to wait around on the spacebar long pressing it. You could just deeply press on any part of the keyboard to get that text selection cursor tool. Okay, for this next tip, I saw a lot of people on the internet saying they really didn't know anything about this tip, and that kind of blew me away because I use this one all the time. So we all know that if you want to rearrange your home screen on your iPhone, all you have to do is long press on an app, and eventually they'll start to jiggle and you can move those around from screen to screen to reorganize your applications. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually hold down one app, and then all of a sudden, if you start selecting multiple apps by touching them, you can get a group selection of these apps to move around. So once you have that one app selected, all you have to do is just tap on the other apps that you want to select, and they will all go into this neat little pile. This saves a lot of time if you want to reorganize your apps, maybe put a bunch of apps into folders. It just makes it super easy to manage multiple apps when you're dragging them across your home screen, and I was surprised how many people didn't know that this existed. Now this next tip is something I brought back in an older video when the iPhone X came out, but I still find that a lot of people don't know that you can use Animoji as stickers. So we're all used to using our Animoji the regular way, where you can record the Animoji and send it out, and it will include the, facial expressions, the recording of your face, and also an audio clip. But you can also do this in a way that doesn't include audio or doesn't include the facial animations. Like if you just wanted to send them out as a regular emoji, all you have to do is just tap on that Animoji and it will send a static image of that Animoji. What's even cooler is that you can just simply press your finger on the Animoji while you're making your facial expression and then drag and drop it into the message and use it as an iMessage sticker. This was a popular trick on my iPhone X video when I released it, and I still find that a lot of people don't use it, so I figured I would include it in this overlooked tips and tricks video. Have you ever made a Siri request before and all of a sudden it butchers the pronunciation of your name? Well, if you're having that issue, this next tip is for you. You can actually change the pronunciation of your name by telling Siri that she didn't pronounce your name right. After that, Siri will ask you for how you pronounce your name, and after you tell Siri how you pronounce your name, she will bring back a bunch of options for you to select from for the correct pronunciation. This also works for first and last names, so if Siri's messing up either your first or last name or both, you can get her to quickly pronounce the correct version of your name. If you're having any trouble with Siri pronouncing your name, make sure you try this tip out. Now, while we're talking about Siri, I also want to bring up another tip, and that is to get Siri to translate languages for you. This is a newer iPhone features, and a bunch of languages have been added recently, and I find it really cool that you can actually get Siri to translate into a different language for you. This might be a super useful tip, say if you're traveling to another country and maybe you don't know the language correctly, you could have Siri help you out here. Activating this is simple. All you have to do is activate Siri and then say a phrase and then ask it to translate it into another language. I was pretty impressed by this translation feature, but I would really like to know how accurate it is. I don't speak any of these languages, so I really can't say for sure if it's giving you 100% correct translation here. But so far, if it does work, or if it even works 50% well, I think it's a pretty cool feature, and I'm pretty impressed with how Siri is able to do this. So this is the next tip that I feel is really overlooked, and I feel like a lot of people don't take advantage of it, and that is that you can actually customize your control center. A lot of the time when friends or family members ask me about a specific iPhone problem, or when I need to help them with their iPhone, a lot of the times I'll go into their control center and I'll still see that they have the basic options there for control center. So if you want to add stuff to your control center, all you have to do is go into settings, scroll down, and just below general, you'll see the option for control center. From there, you can hit Customize Controls, and you'll see that you have tons and tons of options to choose from. Say I want to add something like stopwatch to my control center, I can select that, and then when I go into my control center, you'll see that the stopwatch option is now activated. And just by hitting that from control center, it will bring me directly into the stopwatch app. And you can also change the order in control center as well, so if you want something featured at the top of your list or something at the bottom of your control center list, you do have the option to do that as well. So this next tip is exclusive to iPhone XR and iPhone XS and XS Max users, and that is to change the f-stop while you're taking a picture with portrait mode. So I'm pretty sure everyone by now knows that you can take a picture in portrait mode and you get those nice blurred backgrounds. You might even know that after you take that picture, you can change the aperture setting, but what you might not know is that you can change this while you're taking a photo. So all you want to do is in the Photos app, when you have your portrait mode selected, is tap the top right right of the screen, you'll see a little F there, and that will actually change your f-stop. So say you go to a low f-stop like f1.4, that will blur out the background a lot because it is a smaller aperture. Conversely, if you go all the way to the other end of the spectrum at f16, this will give you the maximum field of view. And it's really cool that you can access this by changing the aperture and viewing the live preview of what the iPhone is taking just by using this setting, so it really helps with framing your portrait mode pictures. All right, everyone, and those are my 10 overlooked iPhone tips and tricks. Hopefully you found a tip or trick in this video that helped you out. Hopefully you found one that you didn't know about. Be sure to let me know your favorites in the comments below, or if you have one that you particularly think doesn't get a lot of coverage, make sure you let us know in the comments below. If you want to support the channel in any way, make sure you check out the links in the description to the Greg's Gadgets merch store, or even our Amazon affiliate link. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch, you can also find that information in the description below. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.